Today I wanted to go over some economic principles, accounting principles that you'll need to know in order to purchase your first home. So this is usually the biggest investment that anyone will make in their life. So I definitely want you to be able to make the best decision for yourself. My wife and I currently, we're in the process of buying our first home, and these are the principles that we followed in order to make that decision. So stay tuned. I'm going to go to the whiteboard here and draw some of this out. Alright, so you want to buy a house, and you've made this, you've done your homework, you've made this decision that you're ready to afford this house. So I want to go over some basic economic accounting principles that you may want to consider before going through and purchasing a house. So in this example, let's assume that you want to purchase a $300,000 house. Okay, so the houses that you've looked at in the neighborhood, they're all worth about $300,000. Some of them that are very similar are going for more, so you think that you're getting a pretty good deal here. And you currently have $75,000 in cash. So we want to build out your personal balance sheet just so you can have a nice visual of what to consider. So the first thing that you want to start off with is your assets. I'm just going to put A for short. So your assets, so something with a future economic benefit. So for example, cash. You use this to buy clothing or groceries or any type of form of entertainment. You can really use it for anything. In this case, we're going to be using it to buy a house. So your assets are cash, and you have $75,000. All right, so now we want to talk about your liabilities. So we'll go L over here. So the liabilities are always on the left side of the balance sheet. This is your sheet. So a liability is an economic obligation to someone you either owe money or a service to that you're going to have to pay in the future. But let's assume that in this example that you are free. So you don't have any liabilities to anyone. So you don't have any loans, you don't have any car payments, nothing like that. So now we can calculate your personal equity. So I'll just put E. E is here. So E is going to be your assets minus your liabilities. So we're going to say, okay, 75,000 minus 0 is your equity, which means you currently have equity of $75,000. So this is what you owe after all of your liabilities are clear. So this is currently what your personal balance sheet looks like. So now you want to go to the bank and you want to get a loan because this house is $300,000 and you only have $75,000 in cash. So let's draw the bank here. Nice blue bank. This is going to be the entrance here. This bank's made out of marble, letting you know that it's a very nice structure. It's got some Greek columns, letting you know it's going to be there forever. They're not going to just take your money and run. So this bank is going to give you $225,000 in cash, and in return, you're going to give them an IOU, and you're going to be paying an interest. So now, what does your personal balance sheet look like? So let's make this a little cleaner. Let's start with your assets. We'll draw the actual sheet here. Alright, so your assets now are $300,000 in cash. Your liabilities have gone up. Now it is $225,000, and your equity is going to be $75,000. So this number hasn't changed. So now you can tell people that you have $300,000 in cash. You know, hey, you're a 300,000-aire, or whatever you want to call it. And some people will actually do this to impress people or whatever, but they're not considering, what they're not considering is their liabilities. So your equity is what matters. This is your net worth. Net worth. Not your assets. So if a group of people own this equity, you could say that this is called a shareholder's equity. So this is going to be what a corporation does. Publicly traded corporations say that that they own this equity. So now you're going to go ahead and purchase the house. So let's erase the bank here. And you've got this house. It's a little smaller than the bank. And you receive the house. You actually receive a deed to the house, but then you can move in, you can make any type of payments, any type of repairs on the house. You can really do whatever you want at this point. And what you were doing is you're giving $300,000 to the other homeowner. So now let's draw your new balance sheet after the transfer of the house. Got your equity here. Alright, so now your assets are no longer $300,000 in cash. Your assets are a house that is $300,000. Your liabilities are $225,000 that you owe to the bank. And your equity, it stayed the same. So your equity is still $75,000. So this assumes that the price of the house is actually $300,000, that it's actually worth that. In some cases, you know, if you underpaid or if you overpaid, this is going to change. But in the next video, I want to review what happens if the value of the house goes up, what happens if it goes down, or if you need to have additional cash. So we'll see that in our next video, so stay tuned.